All righty, good evening. This is Ron. It's Monday evening, a little after 6, January 6th, and let us begin. See if we have any questions. I think last couple of days we spoke from the book of Exodus, and we were looking at the first chapter. Let me go back to that. And getting a deeper meaning from it. And we spent a lot of times looking at what the midwives were and seeing that from a spiritual perspective and kind of tying all that together. Uh, so And we did not get into all the names, but the names just are very important as one would expect, especially as we look through scripture. You see, this one begot that one and this one. Uh, so it's talking about the journey. These are the sons, of course, of Israel. That is referring to here, Israel and Jacob. And but that's where we were, Exodus 1, and kind of opening this up. But any questions about any of this or anything else? Any questions anybody have, or comments for that matter?
Ron, hi, this is Evelyn.
Hey, Evelyn.
Good evening, family. Nothing is coincidental. We know that, and I believe in cause and effect. When we meet and talk about issues, current affairs, and we put it on the table, do we usher in changes? Because there's no coincidence for us talking about the midwife, the beginning of the year. So my question is, when we talk about things, do we usher in new beginnings and balance into the universe? That's my question.
Evelyn, I think that is a very good question, and that's one uh, we've kind of sort of talked about in various ways. My opinion on that, and I hope others weigh in on this as well. Uh, my opinion on that is truth uh, does influence the universe because they're one and the same. And as we are seeking to bring balance, and we readily accept the responsibility of bringing balance to mankind, I think yes, we like the planets lining up, and some of the other things that we talked about, the age of Aquarius, and when we talked about the sixth and the seventh sense and uh, all those things became aware to us because they were happening. They were happening because of us. I think we had influence on the pandemic. Uh, Not so much, looking at it from a negative side, but there was a lot of positive that came out of that too. The earth stopped for a while, not physically stopped, but all the motion, everything stopped. And the universe started to cleanse itself. The atmosphere, the oceans. We saw animals lining up together who had always been mortal enemies. Those kind of things are no coincidences, and I think it was an eye opener. And hopefully maybe there are still some things that will happen that we'll see. We would not be here tonight if it had not been for the pandemic. And if it was not been for us being on this line, a lot of things that we have discussed and seen uh, we probably would have missed. But the energy that we bring together, I think, do help with those things. I was trying to remember uh, something with the planets that Nick was talking about, and he was saying how many thousands of years, but it had happened, and it made me wonder, why is it happening now? What is it coincidentally that we're here making, or did we influence this? Those kind of things. So my answer is yes, but I would be curious as to what others think.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Good evening, Ron.
Good evening,
Good
sir.
evening, everyone. It's GC in Philly. And I too concur with you, Evelyn, that we are ushering into the 2025, portal by us just having a desire to see the manifestations of our heart's desire. And so, when we come together as we do, because of the collective consciousness of us being in pursuit of truth, we are now engaging and being able to appreciate it from its origin, which again, Pastor has spoke about the importance of the Kemetic priesthood and the Kemetic and Cushite teachings. So without a doubt, when you had mentioned, are we ushering into, the new season or the new year in terms of being able to see those things manifest, I too concur with Ron that we are. And because of what we have said in the past, energy flows as our attention goes, then we are creating this, Evelyn, and everybody that's on the call. And it's because of our oneness that we're now seeing those things come to light that we had put in our meditations and prayers. So I just wanted to respond to your question, and hopefully, it resonates with you. I'm done.
Thank you, George. Even
Okay.
even our understanding of scripture, and we seeing things from a different place than I think as things as we become more accepting of who we are and what we're doing, things seem to open up more to us, and the understanding increases. So
George, excuse me, I'm sorry. I
Yes.
thought you were finished. I apologize.
go ahead. I'm done.
But no, I was going to say, George, thank you. And Ron, I thank you too. We are powerful people. We really don't realize how much power we have. We are opening your blind eyes. We are healing the sick. We are doing all the things that church told us that Jesus did. But we doing these things also. It's just we're not doing it physically. We're doing it by us meeting on this call Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. To me, that's power. That's what Jesus was talking about. So I just wanted to just bring that to everyone's attention because we're powerful people. We're making changes. We're bringing balance to mankind. So I'm just grateful for everybody. And thank you for the answers. Appreciate you all.
Yeah, and Ron,
Stay on. Stay on.
and Ron, if I may, I mean, in the scriptures, Jesus said, "These things that I've done, you shall do even greater things." And I think that
Yeah.
when we look at it, we're not looking at it in terms of pious or ego, but as Evelyn mentioned, in terms of the power that we have. We have the power to change situations and circumstances. We have the power to be able to create because the Creator created us, in His image and likeness, and has given us the characteristics to be able to change things. So I just want to again, just add on to what has already been said. And this is why we are excited. This is why we have joy. And Ron, and when you
Yeah.
spoke about the names, and mentioning Exodus, sometimes I ask the
Mhm.
question, what is my name? What is your name? Right? And so I
Yeah.
am GC, right? I am Elohim. And so that just brings much more power in terms of who we really
Yeah.
truly are. So thank you for letting me share those thoughts, Ron. I'm done.
Thank you, George. Thank you.
Hey, Ron. Hey,
Yes,
Ron, this
sir.
is Charles.
Hey, Charles, how
When
you doing?
George, yeah, when George was talking a while ago, believe him, because I was getting ready to say the same thing he's getting ready to say, but I was going to say, in Jesus' word said, if you believe like I believe, you see, I don't forget the lady name that came in there. If she believing that we, Evelyn, if she believed that what we doing is touching the universe, it has to come to pass. And
Yeah.
not only that, if you believe like Jesus said you believe, even though you don't see it I know it, it's gonna happen regardless. I mean, thank you, George and Ron, for bringing it up.
Thank you, Charles.
Thank you. Great start. Anyone else? Questions, comments? I want to mention something that we talked about yesterday, and we were talking about midwives, and we start talking about a doula, and someone mentioned that uh, that is a person who helps you to cross over when you're near death, and that person it offers some spiritual guidance. I looked the word up, and uh, I didn't find a whole lot. From what I saw, it talked more about someone who kind of talks with the person, a young woman who's about to give birth, and there is a midwife there. This is the person that kind of sits between the birth mother and the midwife, and kind of does some coaching and helps the birth mother kind of see things spiritually. I just thought that was kind of interesting that I listened to what we were saying, and Pastor was talking about, the midwife, and he was a young man when he was a boy, and to help him into the world as well. But how much that has changed, how much it has gotten commercialized, I guess, or glossed over, and has lost, to me, a spiritual meaning. So that kind of goes hand in hand to me with the discussion, the question that Evelyn asked. Some of the things that we're putting out there in the universe is clearing things up, bringing understanding, and uh, shining a light on things that have been glossed over or changed, so that it can be something that commercialized and become something that makes people money. But I just thought that was interesting to look at that and see how much what it means today versus what it meant some time ago. Any questions or comments on anything, guys?
I have one more, Ron. You were talking about it.
Sure.
When life comes in this world and life exits this world, do they touch?
I'm not sure I understand. Say it one more time, Charles.
I know it's a big pill to swallow. When children come into this world,
Babies are born.
babies are born, however it does, when they come into this world, when life comes in and when people pass across, their life leaves this world, do they ever touch across?
Connect.
Connect.
Connect with what now? The same light that you are born with, it is illuminated throughout your lifetime. Is that what you're asking? You mean the connect with the source that it comes from, or
And let him not be a rare question. The reason I'm saying is when life comes into this world and life leaves this world, we're talking about individual people's life.
right?
When life comes in and life exits out, do they touch?
Is that spiritual connection?
Is that spirit connection with that?
Yes.
Somebody help me with
Yeah,
that.
Charles, yeah. Ron, this is George again, GC. Charles, yes, it does connect. There's no separation, with regards to birth. And I think we talked about it a little bit on Sunday, where I was speaking in reference to the stages of life that once conceptions take place, you know what I mean? We go through that process of growth. We go through that process of aging. We go through that process of decay, and death and resurrection. And so from the spiritual realm, death has no sting. So I truly believe that there is a connection that's not just external, not just internal, but it is um eternal, right? The spirit
Yeah,
doesn't die. So those are my thoughts, Ron, unless there's any questions, but that's my logic or I'm sorry, that's my into.
like that. I did not look at it that way, but I like that. Thank you, George.
Yeah, following up with what George said, they're both part of the same consciousness. They're both both one with universal consciousness. So as you say, George, they're not separate. They are one.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Paul.
Bob.
Well, I just want to tell you a story, Charles, that, and you can tell me if this is what you're talking about. When my dad passed away, my niece was traveling along in the car, maybe, I don't know, the same day or the next day or something. She was traveling in the car. Her son was in the back seat. And he was like maybe, I don't know, 2, 3 years old, something like that. And while they were traveling in the car, after my dad had passed, he was looking out the window and he started waving and he went, "Hey, Granddad." And it kind of freaked my niece out because he didn't necessarily understand that my dad had passed away or any of that. But he was waving at him out the car window. So he made a connection, even though he didn't understand what was happening, but he made a connection with him. So is that the kind of thing you're talking about? Or are you just talking? I think there can be physical and spiritual connection.
You just brought me back to a mind of when I had told y'all that when my cousin died, he came to the hospital. I mean, I guess I was talking to him in the spirit. He came to the hospital and talked to me and asked me how I was doing. I told him I'm doing fine, this and that. And certain time he said, "Well, I got to go." And he needed left. And I knew where he was going. But when my family got there, they were trying to talk all around other stuff. And I think my mom or someone told him, "You need to, do you want to tell him that Freddie's gone?" And then somebody said, "No." Not now. He did a critical condition. No, he don't need to know that now. And I told them, I said, I know Freddie's gonna pass. I don't talk to him. And they looked at me like I was going crazy.
Yeah.
And they was all surprised that you seen Freddie? And I said, yeah. But they didn't understand, but I did. So thank you for bringing, checking my mind back into that. Yeah. They
Yeah.
touch and it's all the same.
Yeah, we constantly make connections like that. Sometimes we don't realize what's happening or we're a bit fearful or whatever, but we constantly make connections like that.
And see, I didn't understand it until you just talked about it. And yes, that's why you can talk to the dead. That's why you can do anything that
Connect with the ancestors.
yeah, you can connect with anything. The ancestors. You can connect when Jesus went to the mountain of figuration. You can connect with the spirits. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Good discussion, y'all.
Ron,
Yes, ma'am.
Ron.
Levon, is that you?
Yes, it is. This is Levon.
Hey, Levon.
Hi, I just wanted to make a comment when you were talking earlier about the doula and the
Yes, ma'am.
midwives.
Uh-huh.
And you were right when you were talking about you didn't feel any spiritual connection when it came to the doula because when we discussed the midwife, when we talked about the midwife being a spiritual, giving spiritual direction and the consciousness of helping us for powerful transformation, the doula really came into the United States back in the 60s. And what happened is the doula provides it's a non-medical profession. And back during midwives time, and if we go back into the Bible, doulas were called childbirth assistants, and sometimes they were given the name in the ancient Greek as a female slave or a female who provided a service. But they had non-medical profession. They were a non-medical profession. It wasn't like a spiritual connection or anything. It was just a service to help people be comfortable while the professionals, the doctors, the midwives, they did what they had to do. So I understand where you were saying you didn't feel like a spiritual connection to a doula because they just provide a service of giving comfort. And I'm not saying that can't be spiritual, but
Yeah.
it wasn't their purpose like a midwife, where the midwife like Evelyn told us gave spiritual direction. But
Yeah.
doula was just what happened, I think they said in the 60s is that instead of saying a childbirth assistant or a comforter or something, the word doula just kind of grasped and people ran with it. And so, yes, it is a non-medical profession. And there wasn't any spiritual connotation with it. They're just somewhat, but I have a hard time with that because if you're comforting me, I'm not going to say it's not spiritual because it's however you personally want to take it. But that's not what it meant in the, as far as their actual profession. They go to school for this, they can get training, certification. And so I don't know if that helps clear anything up, but it was interesting.
And I thank you for that. I thank you for clearing up. You brought up something interesting though, a point that I guess I said it and didn't realize what I said. And I saw something here. When you guys talk and you explain something to me or to the class, I feel that. And I didn't recognize to what degree. But I feel that, and it may be something that I'm told, a concept or something that I'm totally unfamiliar with. I had never heard the word doula until yesterday, but I felt it because you talked about uh, someone who assists in bringing life into the world, someone who assists someone who is who may be going through a transition, transitioning out of the world. Both of it is transitioning life, and I could feel that. And then when I did my research and looked at it, the words I read had no spirituality in them. They were just words. And I looked at it and it was kind of hollow, just to say, okay, so this person really has no real responsibility, no meaning. But it made me think, you know what? Hold on to the conversation you had. That was the original intent. That was the beauty of it. That's what you felt. So it just, when I thought about it, I said, you know what, I got the real meaning of this earlier. So it just made me not. I just wanted to point it out to you and bring it up because I thought it was kind of interesting that what I researched did not carry what we talked about, and I just thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, and you're correct. They do provide different things, and they provide uh, uh, comfort and got during, not like you said, not just birthing, but also during miscarriages. They also can do help with the an abortion, and then like you said, death. So they can provide a lot of services, and that's the word that they're given is doula, but they provide a lot of services of comfort and support.
And to me, that is spiritual.
So I have a question, Ron.
Yes,
This
ma'am.
is Evelyn again. And this is for the medical people on the line. They may can help me with that. Does the medulla that's in our brain has anything to do with the doula, what Levon is talking about? Because the doula supports a person transitioning. It's about transitioning or transitioning life, helping that person, being a support for that person. And medulla in the brain, I have to look that up, but for some reason, I see something there.
Evelyn, the doula,
Yes.
the doula actually supports the midwife or the doctor. They do not perform this actual service. They're the support of the midwife or the doctor. And so if I'm having a child, the midwife would be delivering my child. The doula would be assisting her and giving me comfort. The doula is not actually doing the birthing, helping me with the birthing of the child. It would still be the midwife. The doula has no medical education. I'm not saying they can have it or they don't, but usually it's more of just supporting whoever the professional is doing the work and the customer or the client. So I'm not sure if that's exactly which way you were going with that.
Yeah, I hear you, but I'm just asking, and that makes plenty of sense. I got that part, but I'm wondering if there's a connection there with the medulla and the doula, because it's all spiritual. So that's why I asked the question, but I'll do a little more research. Thank you, Levon.
Yeah, I need to understand that too. Thank you.
Well, think of the medulla, called the medulla oblongata. Think of that as your brain, okay? And think of that as part of the brain. Think of the midwife, just for this discussion. Think of the midwife or the medical person as the brain. Think of the medulla as the bottom part of that brain. And think of the medulla as the connection between what the brain is saying and the information the brain is sending down the spinal cord. It supports respiratory center, the cardiovascular heart center. It supports things like that. Breathing, automatic things like breathing. Your heart is an automatic kind of thing. And so the doula, as LaDon said earlier, is a helper in a sense of getting the signal where it needs to go. The doula also provides education, provides coaching, and as LaDon said, it's the non-medical part. But it can provide those ancillary, quote unquote, my word, ancillary services that help promote and support that individual to know what they need to know in order to do what the midwife asks them to do, or the doctor, in breathing appropriately, in birthing that baby by saying, okay, push, whatever the midwife tells you, that's the doula provides that education and coaching.
Thank you. And I know there's more, DJ. I know it, but I just feel that there's a connection there. And everything starts, it's our brain anyway. It's in our brain. There's more in there that we will ever know. I just feel that there's anyway, thank you. I'll leave it right there for right now, but thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you. Again, good discussion.
Ron. Good
Hi.
evening, family. This is Kathy. How are you all doing?
Hey,
I
Kathy.
just wanted to add one thought. I haven't done a lot of research on this, but as I'm listening to this conversation this evening, I'm reminded of an interview that I heard with, believe it or not, Erykah Badu. She is a living doula. And I saw the interview where she talked about not only welcoming and preparing the space for a life to come into the world through her breath, her breathing. She called it preparing the room as the welcoming committee. She does the same thing, she said, as you're exiting, as the spirit is exiting this body, it's the welcoming committee to prepare you to leave and go into the realm of the ancestors, to the next realm through easy breaths. It's all about the breathing and all the different things. While you all were talking, I was trying to pull up that interview to kind of see, because she's the only person that I know of that's living that I've heard. She says she's preserving the way of the midwife and the doulas. That is her mission. That's one of the things that she's known for her music. But in her life, she says it is her mission to sit with those as they bring life into the earth and as life leaves the earth. And I don't know if it would help to look her up and look at the interview, because like I said, I haven't done that. But I remembered that because it resonated so deeply with me when I saw that interview of her just speaking. And I know you can pull the interview and find it, but just to hear how she sees the spiritual nature of what she's doing as a doula. She didn't say she was a midwife, but she says she preserves the way of the midwife and the doulas. So I just found that interesting. And like I said, that may be something that someone might want to look at to get further clarity, because she is a living doula. And I just wanted to share that. So thank you.
Thank you, Kathy, because you just reminded me, because one of the articles I read did talk about the doula being someone who creates space. And but it didn't elaborate, didn't go into what that meant. So that's interesting. But certainly, the more we talk about it, I see it as a spiritual thing, and not just, you know, someone who kind of holds your hand. I see it as a mental and spiritual thing, assistance to you, something more comforting and on that level. Thank you.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Just as a quick question, can a male be a midwife? And the closest thing that I could come up with is barbers back in the day, they were very good with blood work. Yet is there any history of a male being viewed as a midwife, or is it just a female that's titled that? Thank you.
George, this is Barbara. In today's world, there are male midwives. I've worked with several. So they can be midwives. If you're talking about the physical aspect of what midwives do, there are males, yes.
Thank you.
I think as for the discussion too, George, I'm glad Bob answered that. We talked about, we drew a conclusion from looking at that scripture that we are midwives, meaning we the experience that we have now and the awareness that we have and understanding of all of our feminine energy, both individually and collectively, allows us to see and become aware of things like this. And the desire is to bring truth and to bring enlightenment. So yeah, you if you desire to be, you certainly do. Whether or not you want to be licensed for it physically or spiritually, you desire to kind of stand in the gap, if you will.
And just a reminder, when we're talking about this, we all have both feminine and masculine energy, even physically. So spiritually, we know that they are one, and they're sometimes we exercise more masculine aspects of that energy than other times. Sometimes, as we've said before, females can be the givers in a sense. The feminine energy can be the givers, or the feminine energy can be the receivers, and vice versa. So we are one. We're both.
Indeed. Indeed. Good question. Anyone else? You guys feel good about where we are?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do. I do. Yes,
Exactly.
I do. Yes.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I think as we I think one of the more subtle conversations or discussions we had and has been one of the most effective and timely was understanding prayer and the importance of meditation and feeling free to recognize who you are, and it's not uh, so much that I have to go to my closet. It's the fact that I stay in that place, that I feel free to meditate or to pray, however you want, whatever term you want to use. But that's where we are. We are uh, not at the same place we were several years ago when we started this. And I love this. I love the energy that I feel. Like I said on yesterday or any day, we could have a discussion on something that may be totally new to me, but I feel it. It resonates with me. And when it resonates with me, it either makes me want more or to gain understanding of. But I don't always have to understand something when when I get off the phone and I don't feel lost most of the time, unless it's something I need to go back and listen to. But the point I'm trying to make is I feel your energy. I appreciate the energy of the people when we talk, even when you don't talk, you come back on his line time after time after time because your desire is just as strong as anybody else's who may verbalize things. So appreciate who you are. Be thankful for who we are and what we do and how humbling this is to be here and how beautiful this year is going to be. So anything else, anybody before because if you guys don't have anything else, but then I don't want to leave without make sure any questions or comments.
Yeah.
I just got a comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
I hear George.
Charles, go ahead. I'll yell. Go ahead.
On the comment, I'll get ready to say, I thank God and the universe because sometimes I don't be on the phone and I be doing other stuff. I be wanting to be on the phone, but I just can't be at that time. But when I do get on the phone and get talking, when I ask a question, it be just like y'all probably had done talked about on that Saturday or that Sunday. And I thank God that the Spirit keep me in touch sometimes to ask that question. But that's what I'm just thinking that we do have a talent that we can all be together on.
A oneness. Yes. I agree, Charles. Thank you.
And I feel, Ron, that's what's is leading us into 2025, where I can feel and sense when you had mentioned about how do you feel, that a lot of the confusion has exited. You know what I mean? In terms of where I am today. A lot of the misunderstandings, it has been cleared up where I'm at today. And so I think for me personally, and maybe for some others, we can clear the clutter. I think some time ago we had talked about the prayer of the cosmos in terms of the book, and I think Sheldon did a teaching on prayer, and we talked about meditation. But this is again where I think going into 2025, I feel relieved. You know what I mean? I feel much better, in terms of where I'm at in the moment, in the present, than we did when we were even thinking about the President-elect Trump. You know what I mean? But I know Kathy talked about the joy of the Lord as our strength. You know what I mean? So I think that there's a lot that we have moved from where we are today that's now ushering us into, the the joy of where we are now. Just want to share those thoughts.
George, I couldn't agree more. I guess I say it a little differently. I think we are already we're at a place where we're not the words and the wisdom that is shown to us and the understanding is not marked by time so much as it once may have been. And so there's nothing that can occur that we're not ready for, meaning the year may be starting, but we are already where we supposed to be, and which says a lot to me that nothing should be able to shake us. And I don't say that arrogantly at all. Uh, and I'm not so naive that I don't think things are going to happen this year. But I am saying I stand with this group of people who are seeking truth. Where else can I go? Where else in the earth should I be? So as the Creator has put us together, has birthed us for this time to be together. This is the greatest place in the earth to me. So I love this, and I hope everybody is at a peace as to who you are and what we're doing. Okay. Anyone else? Thank you, guys. Great discussion. A little short tonight, but that's okay. That's okay. Remember your meditations. If you have any questions or anything, bring them to us. Let's start off Saturday with questions or whatever you bring. Okay. Have a great week. And don't know where you are right now, but I know South Carolina is supposed to hit a cold spell here. So you guys be careful. Temperatures are gonna drop a little bit. Okay. But thank you. Have a great week.
All right, family.
All right,
Thank you,
too.
everyone.
Thank you, bye, everybody.
Have a good evening.
Bye.
Bye bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.